Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Welcome to Heart with Saima. We are going live on multiple channels, and we hello everyone on Instagram. कैसे हैं आप लोग सब? How is everyone doing? It is Thursday and it's time for Heart to Heart. We talk about everything that I'm passionate about. Some of it has to do with real estate and it has to do with everything that I'm passionate about in my life. So, कैसे हैं आप? What's happening in your lives? We have 59 seconds before we go live. And we have quite a packed schedule today. So, a lot of things we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the steps for a first time home buyer. We're going to be talking about some things about commercial real estate and trends. And we're going to be talking about, you know, divorce. So, a lot of different things that we are going to be covering. And thank you for joining me. We have 25 seconds to go. So, okay, 10 seconds to go, and we're going to be live. Thank you all for joining me. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Dallas. How is everyone doing today? Welcome. Welcome to Heart with Saima. I come to you every Thursday from 1 to 2 in the afternoon. And I come to you and we talk about different things and different subjects. We talk about all kinds of stuff under the sun. And I am always ready for your suggestions, your opinions. And I'm going to do a few things that I've added to my schedule here because I did receive a message on Messenger from Zeba, and Zeba had suggestions on what she would like for me to cover on the show. So I've brought some adjustments in, and based on Zeba's suggestions, I'm going to tweak my own agenda a little bit and cover a few things that she wants feels that I should be covering. So how is everyone doing today? It's a beautiful Thursday afternoon here in Dallas. I feel कि एक वक्त के ऊपर या तो मैं ठंड हैंडल कर सकती हूँ या I can handle rain, but when it's cloudy and it's cold, I just find that to be just so depressing. I don't understand, people who live in Canada, people who live in places, and, in Jagah pe where it's gray so much, there's such a high level of depression because simply because. When it's gray all the time, it's actually very depressing for the soul. So, hats off to you people, including my own daughter who loves rain and who loves cloudy weather and who loves the cold because I feel that living in Texas, I can only move down south, but I cannot move north where it's cold and it's dark and it's cloudy and it's, to me, I find it just so gloomy. So, we are going to start our show, and I will start by saying something which my mentor has instilled in me, and what my mentor has instilled in me, and this is coming from Sharon Shrivastava, that there is a karmic balance in the universe. Everything that you ask for, everything that you put out there has a karmic balance. So you ask people for discounts, you ask people to give you things back, you ask people to slash down on their asking price, whether it's handymans, whether it's anyone out there, and you're like, hey, discount this, discount that. There's a law of karmic balance. What you will receive from here, you will lose from here, because there's a karmic balance going on in the universe. So that is something that am working on myself. It's not very easy. It's not very easy to just go out there and the contractor comes and says that, you know what, it's going to be 2,000, and you say, hey, okay, if that's your worth, and if that is what I choose to do, then that is what I'm going to accept here. Um, the number to the studio is 214-817-3333. We are going to cover a few different things on the radio show today. We're going to start by talking about just plain and simple the process of buying a house, steps to buying a house for the first time. So the steps to buying a house for the first time. I am a real estate agent. I have been in real estate for 18 years. I do love real estate. I believe in touching lives in everything I do. As a realtor, when I go out, everyone is not the same. When you go to Walmart, you get Walmart service. When you go to Saks Fifth Avenue or Nordstrom, you get Nordstrom service. So it's up to you. Who are you? Are you someone who just likes to shop at Walmart, which is fine? You get what you pay for in this world. So for me, satisfying my clients is the most important thing. I mean, when use the word satisfying, it is very important to me that I do the best for my client. It shouldn't be based on money. It shouldn't be based on what you're receiving. It should be based on the quality of service you receive. When you go out there and invest in real estate, for most people, real estate is the biggest investment of your lifetime that you're going to make. The focus should not be on what you can get back. The focus should be to work with someone who is going to do the due diligence and give you the integrity and the experience and help you and guide you and do what is best for you, the best investment you can make. Don't lose yourself in petty nickels and dimes. Focus on the big picture. You should end up investing in something that is going to reward you in the long term. The steps to buying a house for the first time, they are daunting for some people. They are complicated. I have been doing this for 18 years. I like to hold my clients' hands. I am there for them whenever you need any support, advice. This consultancy has value. Don't get lost in the nitty gritty and lose focus. If you, as a first time home buyer, the process is daunting. There's a lot that is involved. There is a process. As a first time home buyer, right? You're out there trying to purchase real estate with no prior experience, which is daunting in itself. Between the down payments and the credit scores and the mortgage rate, it's not an easy process. But there is an expert, even when you go to a lawyer. Not every lawyer handles a divorce case, right? There's family law, there's corporate law. There are different people who specialize in the different aspects of law. Every lawyer is not the same. Every lawyer will not be able to give you the same kind of advice across the board. As a real estate agent, my expertise is real estate. I guide you. But then we have experts in mortgage, we have experts in credit. There are all these different people who add value to what you're trying to achieve here. So between down payments and credit scores and mortgage rates and whether it's fixed, adjustable, property taxes, interest rates, and getting the deal closed, it's a very overwhelming process and it requires a lot. There's so much at stake, especially with the first time home buyer. It is an overwhelming process. But if you're ready to buy a house, get in touch with me. Let me help you. Let me hold your hand. Let me guide you. Like I said, I have been in real estate for 18 years. In this step, you learn from the beginning to the end. For example, step one, start saving for a down payment. Now, the down payment can vary. It can vary anywhere. It's a good idea to put 20% down, but 20% is not mandatory. You don't have to have 20% to be able to purchase a house. You are able to purchase a house, even get a brand new house for as little as 3.5% down. I had a client recently who literally walked out with a house, 300,000 with a big builder with 3.5% out of pocket. The builder helped with closing costs. The builder helped with contribute money towards the down payment. The builders are chopping off prices right now. There are builders right now, if you reach out to me, they are offering you interest rate like 4.99%. These are different creative things that builders are doing. So you have to figure out your finances, right? Buying a new home requires a mortgage, or unless you are paying cash and you have that kind of money. If you have that kind of money, that is the easiest way. But if you don't and you're doing financing where the lender fronts you the money and you pay it back over 15 years or 30 years, personally, I always advise do it over 30 years. Get a 30-year mortgage, but make two extra payments every year, and then your mortgage will drop to 20 years. So at least that way, if you are going through a financial crunch, and you need to make a smaller payment, you have the option to do that. So ideally, down payment on a mortgage should be 20% of the home price to avoid added fees. But if you don't have that kind of down payment, don't worry, because you can go as little as 3.5% on, if you are a veteran. You There are even 100% financing options available, and 5% with a conventional mortgage. There are different kinds of mortgages available. Your credit score makes a huge difference. Your credit score has to be in place. So if your credit is off, maybe pay off some of the credit cards, maybe reduce your debt to income ratio. So there are these different things that you are able to do. If you have blemishes on your credit score, yeah, you can get a report free from Equifax. Just go on Google and just Google credit report free and get a copy of your credit score. See everything that is on your credit, and if you see any blemishes on your credit, then maybe reach out and work with a credit repair specialist and let them help you and guide you fix your credit score. So this is something, your credit score is absolutely mandatory. Don't go out purchasing any big items like a car or something which requires a huge amount of financing, because it will impact your debt to income ratio. So these are certain things you have to do. You have to get pre-approved for a mortgage. I work with amazing mortgage people. They are excellent at what they do. If you are needing help, reach out to me. The number to the studio is 214-817-3333. If you want to reach out to me, you're able to email me at vip@saimadillon.com. You're able to reach out to me directly at 972-244-3106. 972-244-3106. Text me, let's set up a time and we can get on a call, a conference call, a Zoom call. We can meet in person and we can go over all these details as well. But the mortgage lender, we can give you references. The amazing, wonderful people who are great at what they do, and they hold your hand and they guide you in this process as well. Um, Another very important thing, like where I started, find yourself a really good real estate agent, someone who your focus needs to be that you're about to invest in the biggest investment of your life. When you are about to invest in the biggest investment of your life, your focus needs to be that you should work with and consult with a consultant, a real estate agent who will answer your questions, who will be there for you, who will make sure that you invest in something which is the best investment for you, and they don't cut corners, because yes, we work for our commission, but when we work for our commission, you get what you pay for, and we make sure that we do what is best for you. So find a good real estate agent who knows what they're doing, who knows the market and who understands the market, and whose primary purpose is to help you make the best and the wisest and the best decision of your life. Because for most people, but investing in your home is going to be the biggest investment that you make during your lifetime. And just remember, the real estate service in most circumstances, they are free to the buyer. So as a first time home buyer, the services of a real estate agent are free to you because the seller pays. Reach out to me if I can answer any questions for you. And then the next step is to go out there and look for a house. We set you up, we send you a list of homes. You are able to go on the internet, search for homes. Meet you, we show you the homes, we answer your questions, we guide you. We guide you when it comes to pricing. We know what is going on at the best in the back end. It is so important for you to work with people that you can trust. Once you find that house, you make an offer. Again, you're relying on the real estate agent, right? So it is so important to work with people you can trust, who have your best vested interest at heart. Because at the end, the agents can say anything, they can do anything. There is a lot of leverage and a lot of information that as agents we have access to, or we can get access to by the way we communicate with the selling agent. So it makes a huge difference in our rapport and in our communication with the listing agent if we are working with the buyer. It makes a huge difference. So step 6 is we make an offer. You find your dream house, and then it is time to make an offer to the seller. At this point, you do write two checks out. One is for the earnest money, which is जिसको हम उर्दू में बयाना भी कहते हैं, and this is money that you put up front as good. This is good faith money. You also give a smaller check for an option fee. This option fee is for you to have a 7-day option during which, if needed, you can back out of the loan. You get your inspections done during this process, and if everything works out great, you know what, you move forward and you move forward towards closing. You do your home inspection to make sure a licensed inspector comes out there and tells you everything that has to do with the house, and they give you, you pay for it, they give you a report, and then yes, at the end of the day, everything is up for negotiation. And that's again the expertise of the real estate agent. If you were in multiple offer situation, then your leverage is much less. But again, this is the expertise of the real estate agent and everything that they are able to do for you. This is where you should be able to trust them blindly, because they are vested in you and they want to do what is best for you. So then comes the home appraisal, and the house needs to get appraised for whatever the purchase price is. And after that, you head towards closing. Closing has to do with your signing all the documents. The loan is ready to get processed, ready to go through. So that is basically, closing costs can vary. They can average anywhere from 2 to 7% of the home price. And this again has to do with, right now, builders are offering all these incentives under 5% interest rate, around $300,000 worth of homes, especially in Princeton, in between around 350 for Anna, around 320 for Aubrey. And these are cities which are doing really, really well when it comes to real estate growth. So, you know what? Invest as an investor. You do have to put 20 to 25% down as an investor. Most builders will not sell to investors, but right now there are some big builders who are selling to investors. They are giving you opportunities to be able to invest, and there are some great opportunities available out there. If I tell everyone to become a real estate investor. So as real estate investor, it is, you know what, invest, put down the 20%, invest. If you have flexibility to be able to move, go buy a house, live in there for 12 months, then put a tenant in there and move on to your next house. So, you know um, moving on from first time home buyers, just the 10 themes from emerging trends in real estate that is expected to shape 2023. One of them is, that sales volume and pricing is normalizing. So after several years of pandemic fueled market distortions, right, pricing is returning in commercial real estate to some more normals. So cap rates are increasing a little bit, that we are seeing. But again, this is a shifting trend that we are seeing, because even in Dallas Fort Worth, in the past couple of years especially, we have seen absolutely nothing touching commercial real estate or hospitality for that matters. We did not see any drop in pricing. So now we are seeing a little bit of adjustment, and again, it depends on the location. So sales volume and pricing, we are seeing some kind of normalization returning in there. So pandemic related structural shifts, these are some things that we are doing, that we are seeing as well. So despite many day-to-day activities returning to some degree of normalcy, we won't be, live going back to living a life like we were living in the pre-pandemic days, right? It's not going to go back. Things are not going to go back to pre-pandemic days. So the growth, the tremendous growth that we saw in the past 2 years, we have seen prices come down 10% to 15%, and we are seeing that adjustment happen of around, 20% adjustment we are expecting. We do expect the prices to go back to where they were maybe 6 8 months ago. We are expecting that to happen in the next couple of years. So a lot of different things are happening when it comes to retail. Yes, shopping, people are still shopping a lot online. um, but we are seeing a lot of creative stuff happen in the market as well. So retail space, where a lot of retail space is also, we are seeing that it's being converted, it's being purchased and converted into apartments and condos. So we are seeing creativity happening over here as well when it comes to commercial real estate, because in commercial real estate, the space is being redefined. We are seeing that there is a shortage. We are seeing that 65% of the market actually rents, but rents have gone up almost 20%. So that is impacting people severely because rents have gone up a lot. So we are seeing that space is being utilized differently. Capital is moving to the sidelines. With rising interest rates and a looming recession, fewer investors and lenders will be providing capital for assets, according to a study. There is still investor interest, but it has declined, with sales offers per property moving from 10 to 3 or 4, according to the head of an investment firm. This is what they are saying, that this is what we are expecting in the market. Housing has become too expensive for many people, and if a lot of this retail space gets converted into condos and apartments, and there is more supply, then maybe we will see some shift happening where there's more affordability that we see in the market. So it just all depends. um, you know um, then it's about quality, it's about the niche market. Real estate capital markets are becoming more bifurcated between the favored and the second, as and scorned, as investors, lenders, developers become more selective as to what they are wanting to invest in. So the niche market is becoming, you're seeing more focus on the niche market. You're seeing more shopping centers and strips focusing on niche market, and niche marketing. There's a looking for a higher purpose. So leaders across the industry, they are sitting there, they're discussing, they're trying to convert older housing to residential use, because residential does seem to be the primary focus right now. So a lot of these things are happening. You're seeing a lot of change happening. You're seeing smarter cities through infrastructure infrastructure spending going on, reconnecting communities by capping divisive highways. So a lot of different things are happening, right? But then that's what it is. Anytime something drastic hits, when things start re-emerging, आपको नजर आता है कि there's a lot of creativity which is going into place. So a lot of different things are happening in the market right now. Everything is being refocused, re devised. So a lot of different things are going on in the market. Expansion is happening differently. Just like in Frisco, we have heard that Universal Studios is bringing in a mini version of Universal in Frisco. So, different things are happening to stimulate growth, to stimulate, and of course, that's going to impact real estate drastically, right? Because once PG is already in Frisco, this is happening. So, there's just so many things going on, and all this has an impact on the pricing of real estate. Um, and of course, the market trends are changing, market forces and regulations, all these things, they just bring change, significant change. So we are going to go into a break in 20 seconds. Once we come back, we're going to talk about divorce today. Like when I started my show, I told you that I had received a message from Zeba, and so I wanted to Zeba Salim, and so I had received a message from Zeba and Zeba Salim, and Zeba wanted me to talk about subjects like first time home buyers and the process that is involved for first time home buyers in order for them to acquire a house. Um, then she wanted me to talk about, you know, um, life as a single mom, which is what I am. And I felt that before I jump into life as a single mom, uh, let me first talk about the initial part, which is basically, the initial phase of everything, which is a divorce, the divorce process that you go through, and talking about divorce, which just seems to be a major taboo in the world universally, and trying to make some sense out of it. Um, uh, you know, because to me, divorce is just something so personal, and it's personal. It's about the family. It's about the breaking of a family, and I don't, I don't understand um, why divorce is something that people feel that people need to talk and discuss amongst themselves क्योंकि किसकी divorce हुई है किसकी शादी टूट गई है um, because I feel कि that is just so personal, right? uh, why is it such a subject of contention, subject of discussion कि किसकी divorce हुई है और उसके पीछे क्या हुआ है और क्या नहीं हुआ है? Because it's such a private matter. It's a family breaking, right? It's hard enough for the family. So that's what we're going to go into, and we're going to talk about. So that is we have 2.5 minutes before the break. Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from Instagram. Hey, Instagram, thank you all for being here. I am streaming live on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. If you would like to, if you would like to join on there, I am streaming over there. So okay. So everyone on Instagram, thank you all for being here. So we have 1 minute and 16 seconds to go. Um, 30 seconds. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Heart to Heart with Saima. And I always start the show with I feel as immigrants, we have a bigger responsibility to our surroundings. Unfortunately, क्यों देशियों की ये एक reputation है यहाँ पर कि, they say that rotten egg which spoils the broth. So they go, you know, देसी जाके वो चीज़ें करते हैं जो masses don't do. And 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 again, talking about the law of karmic balance, which is something my mentor has taught me, that whatever you put out there is what is going to come back to you. यू नो सो मैं कॉन्स्टेंटली इस चीज़ पे वर्क कर रही होती हूँ कि आई गेव द एग्जांपल earlier of a contractor. अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर आता है and makes a certain quotation, and you know and basically you take that quote, and that's if that contractor is good enough and worthy, and you give them what they're asking for, and you do not negotiate, you do not try to discount their worth, because they are giving you value in their service. And when you ask them for those discounts based on the law of karmic balance, you ask for something here and you're going to lose something on the other side, because that's how the karmic balance of the universe works. um, we talked about first-time home buyers in the real estate segment. We talked about what's happening in the world of commercial real estate, and now we're going to transition into heart to heart, and we are going to talk about. We're going to talk about divorce. So this is segment is based on messages from Zeba Salim, who wanted me to talk about life for single mothers. And, I thought that before I go into that, being a single mom myself, we need to talk about the actual process of a divorce. So divorce is basically, two people, right? So although the community thinks, and the universe thinks, and the relatives thinks, and the neighbors thinks, and the friends think that this is about them, and that this is something a subject of discussion over coffee table, over dinners, it's part of the gossip process. But the thing is, divorce is actually a decision which is taken by two people, where two people come to this realization that, for whatever reason, and there are different reasons here, but they are not happy in the marriage. And if they are not happy in the marriage, whatever the reason might be, they could be, one of the biggest reasons for divorce is infidelity. There's money, you know. These are two of the biggest reasons for divorce. But I feel that divorce can happen simply because two people have reached the end of their journey together and they no longer want to live the life that they have been living, whether they are unhappy in that relationship, whether they feel life is over, whatever the reasons might be, it is something very private between two people, between a family. The people to get the most impacted, so the neighbors don't get impacted by someone's divorce, the relatives don't, the friends don't, the people who get impacted is the family itself. But if that family reaches that conclusion and reaches that point in their life where they feel that they are not wanting to continue being together with each other, then that is okay. Then that is something between them. Whatever has happened, it is not an easy decision to take. When I went through my divorce, and I do not talk about my divorce, the reasons, the details, I do not talk about these things with anyone. And I still won't. I don't even sit there saying XYZ. I don't sit there talking about my ex husband with people. I am never the victim. I never look at myself as the victim. I look at myself always as that courageous person who is ready to get up, live life on her terms, and stride forward, no matter what. That right there, that person who always is talking about how wrong is being done to them, how friends have wronged them, how X has wronged them, how Y has wronged them, how Z has wronged them. I don't look at those people because those weak people are a victim permanently. To me, life is not about being a victim, living in a victim mindset. To me, life is about, you know what? Um, Today is not the same as it was yesterday. Koi lamha, every step that you take, every stride that you take, it takes you one step forward. I do not believe in looking back. I do not believe in living in regrets. जो कुछ जिंदगी में हुआ वो आपको बहुत कुछ सिखा के जाता है, वो आपकी जिंदगी में वो चीज़ें जो होती हैं, you are a byproduct of all your experiences. But I'm not even a believer of being that person. Again, I'm not speaking about myself or my journey, but there are people who are in abusive relationships. There are people who who are beaten up by the spouse, they are verbally abused. So they say verbal abuse is more damaging and it's worse. Verbal abuse is worse than physical abuse because it destroys your inner being and your self-esteem. Why would anyone want to live with that person who looks at you and they look at you with hatred and they look at you with with not with love? वो लम्हा, वो ग्लैंस, वो एक लुक, जो अगर कोई आपको जिसके साथ आप 24 घंटे, जिसके साथ आप एक घर की स्पेस शेयर करते हैं, if that person does not treat you with the respect and upheld your dignity and they do not uphold your dignity, why would anyone want to live with that person? Instead of raising your daughters putting with Bollywood films and thinking that everything is life is hunky dory and it's Cinderella story, teach your kids to stand on their feet, to be strong. And if a marriage does not work out for them, then it's okay for you to end that relationship as long as you're strong enough to be able to take care of yourself financially. A marriage, when it breaks, it's devastating. However, the couples with the best intentions find their, you know, even couples with the best of intentions, right? They find themselves going towards divorce. Many couples stay together just to honor their original commitment, despite feeling unhappy. Others find the best decision is for the overall health, safety, happiness of everyone involved to go their separate ways because their journey together has ended. And that is what I choose to do with my marriage. That is what we choose to do with our marriage. We decided to walk our separate ways. Now, this is me, and these are my choices, but we communicate. We, we are still each other's well wishers. And I hope good happens because, again, I believe in the law of karmic balance. अगर मैं किसी दूसरे के लिए बुरा चाहूंगी तो मेरे लिए कहाँ से अच्छा होगा? What you put out there is what comes back to you. Whatever you ask for, you receive. हर चीज एक बैलेंस के अंदर जाती है. कॉन्ट्रैक्टर आएगा, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से बोलेंगे 2000 के बजाय 1500 के अंदर कर दो, तो वो 500 का डिस्काउंट इधर से मिलेगा, वो आपका कहीं और चला जाएगा. Give other people what their due course is. Change your mindset. Instead of living in this mindset, what is in it for me? मुझे क्या मिल सकता है? मुझे इससे क्या मिल सकता है? मुझे उससे क्या मिल सकता है? What can I get from anyone around me? Why not turn into a giver? Be a giver. Give out. So the universe can come around and give you back tenfold. Instead of always thinking, oh, इससे भी ले लूं, उससे भी ले लूं, किससे क्या ले सकती हूं, कौन क्या दे रहा है? You become the giver and start distributing goodness because it will come back to you tenfold. So when you are going through a divorce and you choose to put yourself first and you choose to put your happiness first, you think you are wanting to stay in a marriage because your children are young or your children are 2 or 3 or 4 or 10. There's never the right time. Children are sponges around you. They feed off your energy. They feed off the energy of the household. When you make your children live in a house where there is abuse, where there is verbal abuse, there's physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's mental decline of health, that is exactly what the children are going to end up doing. Do you know that a child who's seen an abusive parent ends up becoming abusive themselves a big proportion of the time? Simply because that is what they have sucked in as a sponge. If you want your child's life to change, if you don't want your children to be a byproduct of the negative environment in which they are being raised, then their environment has to be changed. When I went through my divorce, which was my divorce, which happened in 2021, um, my children, my daughters, they were fully in support. They supported me 100%. They were my support system. They held my hand. They encouraged me. And they were my support system when I went through my divorce. The family broke. The family unit broke. It was devastating for my daughters. They went through a very, very difficult time. 2021, 2022 were the hardest years of my life. You're not prepared for what's coming through. When a couple decides to go through a divorce, they go through like these 5 stages of divorce. These stages are often difficult and they're emotional, but they must be navigated to reach a successful resolution. So by understanding कि ये different stages of divorce क्या हैं, you can be better prepared to deal with them if you ever find yourself going through this process. I'm not going to say कि I'm not going to wish this upon anyone and or anything like that, because I think it's okay. If people reach that conclusion where they are not happy, then it's okay. इस जिंदगी का पर्पस क्या है? अगर इस जिंदगी में हम खुश नहीं रह सकते, or we can't find our peace, then what's the purpose of this life? We should be happy, right? So yes, sometimes this is the step that you take just to find your happiness. The first step, the first stage of divorce is usually denial. This is when both partners realize that there are problems in the marriage, and that they are pretending that everything is okay and the problems are temporary. They might try to hide these problems from their friends and family members. Stage two, which is anger, which is the second stage of divorce. This is when the reality of the situation starts to set in, and couples वो एक दूसरे को blame करना शुरू कर देते हैं about the problems in the marriage. And this stage is a very destructive stage when you're blaming each other and you're angry. Up, you're angry at yourself, at the spouse, and you're just blaming each other, and it's you're being destructive to each other. And this is an ugly stage. This is the stage where you destroy your kids the most, when you are ugly and you're destructive. And you do things and you say things which you regret later, because anger stems from feelings of betrayal and frustration, or even just from a general sense of disappointment that the marriage did not turn out the way that you had hoped for it to. But you're just human beings. And हमें तो ये भी पता नहीं है कि अगले 1 घंटे में क्या होगा, 24 घंटे में क्या होगा, 1 साल में क्या होगा. क्या इंसान को क्या पता कि आगे क्या लिखा हुआ है, right? At any given point in time, you get up and you just try to, you do your best. And if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's not something to feel, yes, you will feel shattered, but you have to get up and you have to keep going, and you have to believe that there are good things waiting out there for you. And the third step is stage is bargaining. This is when couples start to negotiate with each other in an attempt to save the marriage or question what could have been done differently. Couple may start to consider what life could be like if they got divorced. This stage is a very difficult stage, because इस stage के अंदर couples are required to face the possibility of just living a life, breaking that routine, breaking what you're used to, breaking what you're familiar with. And you could just, your familiarity could be abuse. It could be verbal abuse, it could be mental abuse, it could be physical abuse. The fourth stage of divorce, it's depression. The fourth stage, this is when couples come to terms with the fact that their marriage is ending. And this is a very, very difficult stage, because grief, loss accompanies this stage. Couples feel a sense of relief at this stage too, because they no longer have to deal with the problems of the marriage. However, that relief can also be met with feelings of sadness and loneliness as they adjust to the thought of being single again. And this is a rough stage. There are many times when, I miss the family unity, right? The family being together, the family sitting and laughing over a dinner table together. And like I said, this has been the hardest on my girls. And that brings us to the fifth stage, which is the fifth and final stage is acceptance. This is when you come to terms with the fact that the marriage is over and that you have to move on with your life. And you might still feel sad and lonely, but you are at peace with the decision to divorce. And you might already start seeing the positives of being single, and you start focusing on finding your own happiness again. So, how do you know if you should get a divorce, right? Because only you and your spouse can decide if a divorce is the right decision for your situation or not. However, some of the signs that indicate that a divorce is the best option, it includes infidelity, abuse, addiction, just a feeling of unhappiness where you feel that life is over. There's just nothing to look forward to in life anymore. And the process of divorce can just vary. It can vary from in being in Texas, and it can vary from from 90 days to a few years, depending on how difficult the divorce is and depending on how much fighting is going on. And I personally feel there should be no fighting. People need to stop prioritizing money over relationships, whether it's real estate, where you're where you have to make a choice of working with people who have integrity, who are going to do the best for you, because your investment is going to be the biggest investment of your life. Or it comes to relationships, where relationships come first. People that you have spent your life with come first. Divide everything equally, divide your assets equally. Whatever is meant for you will always make its way to you. Relationships should not come after. Stop fighting over money. इतनी हकीर सी चीज है जो आपके नसीब में लिखा है, वो नहीं कोई आपसे छीन सकता, and it will make its way to you. And yes, a divorce can go from very expensive to nothing, where you can literally go to the county courthouse. You can get the forms off the internet. You can get it notarized by a notary. You can take those forms and you can file it in the county courthouse. And in 90 days, it's done and it's over. So it all depends on you as individual beings, what you choose. Stop making choices which are destructive and which will destroy your happiness, and it will scar your souls forever and scar the souls of your children forever. My daughters have never heard me sit there and talk bad about my ex-husband. We might talk about things, but I believe in the karmic balance of life. What you put out there comes back. Acha dalo, acha hi paoge. Whatever you put out there, jo aapki energy hai, whatever your energy attracts good things, they will come to you. Your energy is always sitting there and thinking, okay, हम उस bargaining mindset के कल्चर से आ रहे हैं कि ओके हम किससे क्या छीन सकते हैं, किससे क्या ले सकते हैं, किससे क्या मांग सकते हैं. Stop that. Because जो आपके लिए लिखा हुआ है, it will come to you. But किसी दूसरे का मांग के लोगे, वो कहीं और से निकल के चला जाएगा. Because that's the law of karmic balance. And yes, there is such a thing as amicable divorce, which is what I went through, in which you as a couple you agree on all the terms of the divorce without going to the court. And this includes considerations such as child custody, property division, alimony. And amicable divorce is typically, obviously, it's less expensive and quicker than a divorce that goes to the court. But it makes a huge difference. Your soul, your soul needs to be at peace with everything that you do. When you're always out there and you're always thinking, what is in it for me? How can that soul find peace? When you're always thinking, किस चीज में मेरे लिए क्या है, मैं किसी से क्या ले सकती हूँ? Instead, ये सोचो कि आप किसी के लिए क्या कर सकते हो? What can you do? What can you put out in the universe? Because anything that you put out into the universe will ricochet back to you. The benefits of getting a divorce just depends on a couple's individual situation, right? However, some of the benefits do include starting fresh in life, focusing on self improvement, no longer being in an unhappy marriage, no longer having to fight with the spouse to make them understand your perspective. And of course, these are things that couples should discuss, the benefits and the drawbacks, the pros and the cons of divorce before making a decision. It makes a huge difference. My daughters, we sit down and we talk and we discuss things. I've had to change myself so much to become a better mother to my daughters. My divorce has helped me work on my communication skills. Instead of holding things back and not sharing them and keeping them inside, I've started communicating. I've started talking about things. I've started talking about my feelings and what matters to me and what hurts me, and communicating it instead कि अपने अंदर सब कुछ मैं hold करूं and I keep everything and I just stifle because everything is inside of me and I'm not talking about and I'm not communicating. This is what it's taught me. It's taught me to be a better mother. So the show is ending. You're listening to Saima Dillon with Heart to Heart with Saima. I'll see you next Thursday from 1 to 2. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of my show. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Um, I am always ready to listen to anything, appreciation, criticism. Um, I always say my show might not be for everyone, and that is perfectly fine, right? Not everything is for everyone. Um, but I hope as I share my journey, um, I am able to touch lives. Thank you for listening to Heart with Saima, and thank you for being a part of my journey. Until next Thursday.